Chapter 5: How to strike a balance between humility and confidence. A great man is always willing to be little. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Humble on the outside, confident on the inside. A quote from picturequotes.com. There is a thin line between confidence and arrogance. It's called humility. Confidence smiles. Arrogance smirks. Unknown. Humility can be defined as the quality of having a modest or low view of one's importance. On the other hand, confidence is feeling or showing certainty in oneself or one's abilities or qualities. Confidence is key for one to achieve personal goals in life. People who are confident are not afraid to share their opinion, address people, or take risks. In the process, as one gets successful, striking a balance between confidence and humility can be a struggle for some people. Subconsciously, success can get into one's head and arrogance kicks in. Growing up, I used to be very shy. I would take any opportunity that would come my way to be a spectator and avoid speaking on stage. I remember the first time I was asked to give an icebreaker was in Form 4 at Churchill Boys High School during a public speaking event. I felt so weak, like there was a ton of bricks falling on me. I made an attempt to give it a shot and stood up since all eyes were on me. I couldn't move from where I was sitting to the stage as my legs and knees were shivering. The MC tried to make it easier and asked me to give a speech for a minute on a random topic from where I was, but I could not mumble even a single word. It was a total embarrassment. The worst part is there was a bevy of beautiful girls from Queen Elizabeth in the crowd. These are moments which, when I look back, I laugh at myself and wonder what was wrong with me. I then got to learn from friends like Pinio Mugwanda on how to become an effective public speaker whilst in school, and after school through mentors like the Juggernaut, Trinos Dongo. It has been a step-by-step process, and I'm still learning with the goal of becoming better each day. To date, I've gone on to speak in front of huge crowds at school assemblies, career guidance seminars, training programs, conferences, pitching events, and public speaking competitions. Despite being confident now and able to speak in public, my opinion, it is very important to remain humble, avoid being perceived as arrogant. That thin line at times can be difficult to balance. I've met a few people who have undoubted confidence whilst very humble. Many are on the extremes, confident and arrogant, or humble but not confident at all. I'll share contributions from a few people that I've met that are confident and humble. One of them is a distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Warren Gapara. I first met him when I was in high school during one of our Toastmasters Club meetings. As soon as he walked into the room, I could tell that the gentleman was confident and I couldn't wait to hear him speak. After his speech that night, I went home not only motivated and inspired, but to be a better speaker, but to be humble. When I asked him for his contribution on the subject of this chapter, this is what he had to say. There are some people who go through life with a certain ease, absolutely in control of themselves. The way they walk or talk, for instance, is accompanied by an air of certainty, strongly suggesting that they are absolutely sure of themselves. They deal with whatever life throws at them in a calm, decisive, and definite way. There is no hesitance or any amount of doubt in the way they carry themselves. Looking at such people, one cannot help but think that they are saying, I know what I'm doing, and I'm sure I'm doing the right thing. Such people are confident. By the way, what is confidence? Essentially, it is a strong belief in oneself and one's ability to successfully handle life and its many demands. Confidence, though, can easily spill over into arrogance or pride, and therefore has to be laced with humility. Humility is the state of being down to earth, where no matter your capabilities or achievements, you do not behave in a way that suggests a sense of superiority. Indeed, humility means one carries themselves with an air that says, I may be capable and have achieved much, but I'm in no way better than anyone else. I cannot explain it any better. The second person is District Apostle Helper assigned to Malawi and Zimbabwe, Arnold Mowango of the New Apostolic Church. I always look forward to his services because of his ability to catch people's attention when preaching. Not only that, but also because of his interpersonal skills and likable character that is often commended by many. His contribution to this chapter was as follows. It would be reasonable to assume that any strong, positive, and healthy relationship between people should have, among other factors, both humility and confidence. The two would contribute to a conflict-free or near conflict-free relationship. Perhaps very key would be how the two could be brought to some mutual comfortable balance between the parties in the interaction. Humility plays a very important role in that equation because that's the force that would really draw the parties closer to each other. Confidence does also contribute, not in a small way, in the same equation. There are several definitions of the word humility, but in the context of our discussion, perhaps the following definition would be more appropriate. Being modest and without excess pride. Therefore, in our context, humility would be associated with meekness, submissiveness, assertiveness, and lowliness. If such is the case, it would be safe to state that humility could be perceived as a strength. To support this notion, C.S. Lewis says, humility is not thinking less of oneself, it is the thinking of yourself less. Having defined one of the important factors, let us now look at the definition of the other equally important factor, confidence. An excerpt from Alana Pelm states, among other things, that people with confidence are self-assured, powerful, and that could become a setback in any relationship. Once you feel that you are more powerful than the other party, that puts you already in a situation where you would potentially demean or dominate the other if you do not bring humility in the interaction. Now, a very quick look at the definitions of the two factors could lead to a conclusion that it is almost impossible to have a certain measure of confidence and be humble at the same time. How could we step into confidence and be humble? They seem to be qualities at loggerheads with each other. It does indeed become a problem when confidence pushes one to be arrogant. The world is abounding with examples of confident people who have turned strong-headed and indeed big-headed. They don't broach criticism or advice. Their way becomes the only way. That scenario would begin to harm their relationship with other parties. Having made the above case, how does one then begin to address the problem? The obvious answer would be striking a balance between the already advanced factors of humility and confidence. I propose the following to be considered among other things to achieve that. Accept that no one person can claim the monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. Accept that there are other people who may have experiences that we do not have. Accept that knowledge may have changed from the time we have acquired it. Give space to others and do not dominate or domineer over them. In other words, using humility in considering less of ourselves and more of others. That would be wisdom of humility. That way it is possible to strike a balance between humility and confidence. Let us finish with a true story to support the foregoing argument. I was part of a team of 4 from 3 countries which were invited to Maputo, Mozambique a few years ago. We had to fly through the major airport where the hosts are based. The team was to participate in a symposium at the field offices of the host. As a courtesy, the host placed one of their junior officers at the airport to guide us through, since there were some renovations being made. As it happened, all 4 of us had transited through this airport at various times and therefore had some level of confidence that we knew our way around it. Unaware to us was that there were some changes made due to the renovations that were ongoing. The appointed guide cheerfully received us and placed himself at the head to lead us. "This way, please," he said confidently. One of us blatantly pushed him aside, told him he knew the airport very well, and took the lead. We admired his confidence. We followed him to where he thought the departure gates were, only to discover that the places were boarded off. Embarrassingly, we returned to where we had left our young guide. He was still standing there, open-mouthed. Then he recovered, smiled, and once again said, "This way, please." The question still lingers in my head. Shouldn't we have humbled ourselves and submitted to the services of our appointed guide? In the knowledge of the airport, we surely would have avoided the embarrassment. Please note that these are not the only people that are known to be confident and humble. There are many out there that we can all learn from. In conclusion, humility takes you to places your education won't, and God's grace will lift you to where your beauty and natural talents won't. Stay humble. It will cost you nothing. Chapter summary. Manage success and avoid being arrogant. Humility and confidence can contribute to a near conflict-free relationship. Accept that no one person can claim the monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. Accept that there are other people who may have experiences that we do not have. Accept that knowledge may have changed from the time we have acquired it. Give space to others and do not dominate or domineer over them.